It started with the Tri-State Freethinkers, which I co-founded. We heard about the Ark encounter. As we started to look into it, we found out they were receiving up to $18 million in state money, all while maintaining their discriminatory hiring practices. And it's also anti-science. So when we start looking into each one of these, we got very involved with the Ark. If you listen to Ken Ham, he chooses his words carefully. What he says is this: we received no money to build this Ark. His money is coming in arrears. With the sales tax, he's going to receive a refund each year of up to $18 million over the next 10 years in the state of Kentucky. In addition, employees and surrounding employees, not just of the Ark, have to pay 2% of their paycheck, which goes to pay back the $65 million junk bond loan that they took out from the city. In addition to that, 75% of the real estate tax goes to pay back the junk bonds, not to the county and state. So what's interesting is, when they are talking to certain people, they claim to be a church. At other times, they claim to be a for-profit business. For example, when they're talking with the state of Kentucky for the $18 million, they say, we're a for-profit company. We're eligible for these things. We're not a church. When they didn't want to pay the safety fee that the city of Williamstown was assessing, they said, we are a church. We are exempt from these fees. In order to avoid taxes, they've transferred part of it, which was in an LLC, to a nonprofit for $10 to avoid taxes. But in doing so, they were going to lose their $18 million. So then they transferred it back for another $10 to avoid that. It is a shell game. And the way he set this up is, the entrance gate is a for-profit company, but the actual boat, the Ark itself, is a nonprofit company, which can receive donations and discriminatory hiring practices. In any other state, this wouldn't have happened. It was a clear violation of separation of church and state. Ken Ham promised this would be a destination where he talked that sometimes 2.5, 3 million people would come, and it would create all these jobs for the locals. They didn't even hit 1 million people. There are quite a few people coming, but not near the numbers that he promised. Also, most of the locals can't qualify for the jobs there because you have to sign that statement of faith saying the earth is only 6,000 years old. You can't be LGBT. You can't be Catholic. You can't be. They discriminated against so many people, they had to bring in outside people for a lot of these positions. The Creation Museum every year had double-digit decreases in attendance every year since it opened, until the Ark. The Ark's going to give it a big boost. But Ken Ham said he would have 2.5, 3 million people. He had less than 1 million. He's predicting next year he'll double his attendance that he did last year. That's utterly ridiculous. Their target is children. They want to tell children the earth is 6,000 years old, that God created the earth literally in 7 days, and that Answers in Genesis is telling people Genesis is true in all formats. And it's scary. When you go in there, parents are bringing their children through these things, through the Creation Museum, through the Ark encounter, that Bill Nye said it best, we're raising a generation of scientific, illiterate children. The biggest thing, American atheists, we don't want religious exemptions. We want everybody to be treated equally, all nonprofits or all people. And Ken Ham and Answers in Genesis is looking for all these religious exemptions and trying to also get benefits as being for profit. They're double dipping it, taking it. And that's why, through the Tri-State Freethinkers and American Atheists, we protested the Ark encounter on their grand opening, and also on their 1-year anniversary, which we decided to make an annual event. Because what we found is this: while there was many people writing about the Ark before us and giving a lot of information, the majority of the pieces were still kind of fluff pieces in the base media. The atheist news was killing it, but the general was very positive. Once we labeled this thing and launched the campaign Genocide and Incest Park, it made international news and everybody was talking about it. It got everybody's attention. But the neat thing is, as I'm talking to Fox and Friends Live, I wasn't talking about Genocide and Incest Park. I was talking about the state tax incentives, the anti-discrimination, the anti-science. We got all of our talking points. We tracked it after that. The majority of all the stories were negative. Even the Christian papers were reporting what we were doing. But what we noticed is, that was only a one-shot thing, we thought initially. But as we got further and further away from that opening day, we started to see the media going back to those fluff pieces of, they're bringing in almost 1 million people, they're doing these things. And it was more and more media being positive, and we were like, bring this back again. And we need to put it on the national stage of getting people's attention. And we were